What I have in front of me today might be something you don't encounter very often on the airsoft field. A replica that looks like an AR-15 or an M4 rifle, but it's rocking a banana-style magazine underneath. What kind of heresy is this? An AR-15 and an AK-47 combined? Yep, that's exactly what you're looking at. Hey and welcome to Krale Airsoft. Today we'll be taking a closer look at the KWA Ronin 47, a replica that is based on modified models of the famous AR-15 rifle type. Within the real firearms market, an upcoming trend can be seen that rifles get modified to be able to shoot 7.62 by 39 cartridges, a round that is commonly used with AK-47 rifles, among others. The reason shooters are combining these two is relatively simple. They want to keep the accuracy of the AR-15 platform, but want to add more power to their shots. Or better said, they want the bullet to have more energy behind it. That's where the 7.62 by 39 cartridge comes into play. Within the first 300 meters, the bullet has more energy than a 5.56 round, which is normally fired from an AR-15. But because of the use of this different cartridge, the look of the AR-15 is also modified. Instead of the standard magazine, you'll find the banana-style magazines that are commonly used on AK-47s. To accommodate for the space this cartridge needs. Of course, all of these things don't have any influence on how airsoft replicas work, but they do influence the look and style. This unique combination in looks has been nicely applied to the KWA Ronin 47. Let's take a closer look at what's inside the box, the replica itself, and of course we're going to try it out at our shooting range to see how it performs. The replica comes packaged in this cardboard box. On the outside, it features the logo of the Ronin 47. In addition, we can see some of the features listed on the outside as well. But more on those in a minute. When we open the box, we can see that inside it, the replica is secured in place by multiple foam inserts. These also protect it against light damage. In the rear pad, there's a cutout for the magazine, so that this piece also gets a snug fit inside the box. This magazine has a follower that pushes even the last BB into the system, and it offers a capacity of 120 BBs. Other things we can find here are some tools and a manual on how to operate the replica and make it function. Let's first take a look at the outside of replica, before we go into details of the functions and internals that it has. We'll start at the front and we'll work our way to the rear. Installed on a 14mm counterclockwise thread is KWA's Cutter muzzle brake. This steel muzzle brake has a nice weight to it and features breeching style pins on the end, giving the whole a robust look. As said, it's mounted on a 14mm counterclockwise thread, on which you can mount any other muzzle brake, amplifier, suppressor, tracer unit, or whatever you'd like. Moving further, we can see the M-LOK handguard. We can see this not only because of the cutouts, but also because of the markings on it. This is the official M-LOK logo by the company Magpul. If you want to know more about M-LOK and other real systems in Airsoft, you can watch this video on our channel. The M-LOK handguard is made of an aluminium alloy, which, next to the fact that it's M-LOK, makes it nice and light. This increases the handling capabilities of the entire replica. If you want to mount anything on it, you can of course use M-LOK compatible accessories, but on the top of the handguard and a small section on the bottom, we can also find a Picatinny rail to mount sights, a laser, or anything else you'd like. This Picatinny rail runs across the entire top of the handguard, as well as the upper receiver. The handguard part of this rail features a few cutouts to reduce material and thus also weight. We can see the same thing on the upper receiver rail, but these aren't fully cut out, to still offer a seal for the internals that are inside of it. Mounted on this Picatinny rail are polymer flip-up sights made by PTS. These are adjustable and have a strong spring that keeps them up or down when not in use. Moving on to the receiver. So this is where things get a little bit different than usual. The upper receiver looks like a normal one that you would find on an AR-15 or M4 style replicas, but it has a bit of a more angular style. which in turn also makes it look a bit more modern. The upper also features a polymer dust cover that has the KWA logo on it and is made of aluminium with a matte black coating. The dust cover is opened by pulling the charging handle, as with most replicas. This charging handle is ambidextrous, so it can be used comfortably by left-handed shooters as well. When used, the M-LOK bolt slides to the rear, revealing the hop-up of the replica. The lower receiver is where we can really see the difference to AR-15 styled replicas. Of course, the magazine well is shaped differently to accommodate the different mag that's used with it. The mag well also features an angular design, just like the upper receiver, complementing the look of the rest of the replica. Thanks to the fact this replica uses AK style magazines, this also means that the magazine release has different options. 3 in total. We can find a magazine release on the usual spot, on the other side of the receiver as well, making this function also ambidextrous. And lastly, there's a pedal style magazine release that's situated behind the magazine, just like AK models. So there's plenty of options to take your magazine out the way you like to, or what's quickest in the situation you're in. Furthermore, we can find an ambidextrous selector switch, as well as an ambidextrous bolt release. The bolt release is used to keep the M-LOK bolt open, so adjusting your hop-up is easier. Other than that, it doesn't offer any function. And of course, with the selector switch, you set the replica to safe, semi or full auto mode. The switch clicks firmly into place and is easy and smooth to operate. Something that can sometimes be a little stiff with MB selector switches on other replicas. Around the selector switch, we can see engraved markings to indicate the firing mode the replica is on. Other markings on the replica include the country of manufacturing and a type and caliber marking. We can also find a serial number that is unique with every KWA Ronin 47. To finish the receiver, a polymer pistol grip made by PTS is installed as standard. At the rear of the receiver, we find a sling mount on either side of the end plate. With this you can easily mount a 1-point sling. Unfortunately, there isn't any other sling point for use with a 2-point sling, so if you'd like to use one of those, you'll have to install a mount on the handguard or get creative and find another spot to mount it to. Carrying on from the end plate, we find a tanker style stock. This compact telescoping stock has 3 possible adjustments to suit the length you want. The shoulder pad has a texture on it to add some friction when shouldering a replica, but it's nothing to write home about. It does its job. Inside the stock we can find the battery compartment. This compartment is made of a sturdy polymer and features a polymer end cap. This cap locks firmly into place and keeps the battery compartment sealed off to outside influences like dust and dirt. It doesn't feature an O-ring, so the seal isn't perfect against water or moisture, but still keeps unwanted stuff out. Inside of this battery compartment there's a T-plug DINS connector situated, on which a battery can of course be installed. Now onto the internals. Inside this KWA Ronin 47 there's a KWA 2.5 Plus gearbox installed. I can understand that this doesn't immediately ring a bell, so let's go through all of the features together. First off, this gearbox has a variable performance system, which means that the FPS and thus the joule can be easily adjusted. To reach this, just simply open the battery compartment. Here you can find a Phillips screw with a half-moon shaped plate behind it. If you remove this screw, the plate comes out and the battery compartment can be removed. After which you can reach a 2.5mm Allen screw that is situated right in here. Applied with this replica is this handy tool with which you can adjust this screw. By rotating the screw clockwise, you will tighten the M120 spring that's inside it, thus increasing the FPS and joule output. Rotating it counterclockwise results in a decrease in FPS and joule. This should give you an adjustment range of around 50 FPS. But if this isn't enough for you, then the stock spring can also be easily swapped out with this variable performance system. To do this, you follow the same steps as we just did with removing the battery compartment. You can then push and twist the spring guide, after which the spring guide and spring can be slid out of the gearbox. Now just replace the spring with the one you want to install and close everything back up. Inside the gearbox we can find a high-speed gear set, which is driven by a high torque motor that's inside the PTS pistol grip, giving it a nice rate of fire. The power of the battery that drives the motor runs through the switch life extender that is installed inside the gearbox, also referred to as an SLE. This protects the trigger contacts of the replica by absorbing, at least what KWA claims, 99.9% of the back current, which normally causes trigger contacts to burn out. This in turn also protects the motor. So it kinda has some of the basic functions that a MOSFET would normally offer. The inner barrel of this replica is 219 millimeters long and has an inner diameter of 6.05 millimeters. For more information on inner barrels, you can watch this video. Connected to this inner barrel is of course the hop-up unit. This is a rotary style hop-up unit that has tactile clicks when adjusting it. The plus part in the name of this 2.5 plus AEG means that the gearbox is ready for a gate tighten to be installed without the need for modifications. So this makes it easier for the replica to be upgraded. Now, let's slap a battery inside this replica and take it out to our shooting range. To best see what the KWA Ronin 47 is capable of, we're going to be shooting at 30 and 50 meters. We've adjusted the hop-up and put a Vortex Crossfire red dot on it, which is of course zeroed. Other than that, this replica comes straight out of the box. We haven't adjusted the FPS or joule, so right now it's shooting around 300 FPS and 1.25 joule. We'll be shooting with 0.30 gram BBs and we're using an 11.1 volt battery. So let's first put the target at 30 meters and see what it can do. So we've retrieved the target after shooting at 30 and 50 meters. These lighter stickers represent the 30 meters and the black stickers represent the 50 meters. So what you can see at 30 meters we have a pretty nice and compact group, but at 50 meters they deviate a lot to the left. In fact, only 3 shots actually hit the target and 2 others went all the way to the left and didn't even hit the target. So that's a pretty big contrast to see at 30 meters and 50 meters. I could see that when shooting they drifted off to the left a lot. So you can of course compensate for that a bit, but that's not how you want to shoot with an airsoft replica. So keep in mind at 50 meters this particular version of the replica didn't perform that well, but at 30 meters it performed really well. So that contrast is weird to see, but keep that in mind. So if this video has piqued your interest for the KWA Ronin 47, you can always try it out in our physical store. Or you can visit our web shop where you can find this replica and many others. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.